I mean, do you know? I mean, how the fuck does this happen?
No.
That your importance, because when I was thinking about like Sting, for example, like, so you're that important that you're gonna break up this band and take away from us fans for your ego. The same thing with Roger Waters. And then the fucking guy goes, I don't know what David Gilmour says. I don't know. He goes to release this album, and Roger Waters says, I have nothing to do with this album. It's just an album of instrumentals, right? It's not, I don't even know if you know about it. Doesn't fucking matter.
It's just, people like that, it's just, I have never heard what the voices in their heads are saying or what they sound like. So it's kind of hard for me to put myself in that
position.
Because there's going to be some crazy motherfuckers going on in his head telling them shit.
Well, it's kind of what I was asking earlier. Like, if you were in a band, maybe not you, but don't you think a comedian, since they're always by themselves, like if you were suddenly in a band with a group of people, don't you think that ego the same thing would happen? I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
I don't know.
I got a question for you. Do you consider yourself an artist?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Because that's the problem with musicians. Or most of them who consider this is art, what I'm doing. And I'm not doing it to please the audience. I'm doing to please my artistic intentions or vision. Do you ever go on stage like that?
No. No, never. That's why I don't like the word artist as much as it's used, especially in this town, especially in life. I'm an artist. So for me, when you say you're an artist, that means you got a trust fund. And your parents send you money every month, and you get to try different shit every month.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. When somebody says artist, my ears always go up. And I look over at a coffee shop, because that's where I hear that
that's
word.
you just mentioned, when I think of an artist, I think of Van Gogh.
Right.
He sold one painting to his brother in his lifetime and cut his ear off.
Right. No, I think of, if somebody refers to themselves as that, but I get the art, and I get that what I'm doing is an art. Mm-hmm. And because of that, maybe I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. Because stand-up is set-up, punchline, joke-telling, and storytelling. I take that and I mix it around. That's the art.
Yeah.
When you learn to play the bass.
But we learn to play instruments so we can deliver a message. And a message, there's a structure just like you have in your storytelling.
Right.
It's the same thing with a song. There's a structure to it. So there's definitely an art to being a comedian, because you're telling a story, you're putting people in a state of hopefully happiness when you tell your jokes, and from the moment there's a middle, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to your act. So there's an artistry to it, just like being a musician. But I don't think you take it as seriously as a lot of these guys.
No. No, I consider art like the first instrument I ever played was the bass. Mm-hmm. I learned it pastoral music. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the bass because it was boring as fuck until I watched you play it. Mm-hmm. Then I wanted to go sign up again. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
That's what I call an artist. Your interpretation of what I just showed you. There's 1,000 front kicks. There's 1,000 front kicks, but the way you throw it, that's your art.
Well, it's because I went to a lot of shows in Miami, and I saw Miami was a unique place to play back in the 70s, because it was either the beginning of your tour or the end of the tour, because logistically, a lot of the bands that came from England, Europe and England, would come in and bring their equipment through the port, Fort Lauderdale, Miami port. That's how they brought their gear. So they would either begin the tour there, and they would rehearse at the Sportatorium for a week. And, so you either saw the first show, which was really not the best of their tour, or you saw the last show, that traditionally a last show with English bands, they used to pull all these gags on each other. They would throw whipped cream and get hit with eggs during the set and stuff like that. So either ways, you were going to see a pretty shitty show, because it was going to be the first show or the last show of the set. So I saw a lot of boring performances from a lot of guys that were really high, because plus in addition to that was the drug capital of the world at that time in the 70s, So they were high on blow, heroin, or booze, or all of them at the same time. So I said, you know what? I never want to be one of these guys. the guys that just stood up there and just they were basically like mannequins on stage,
Right,
playing
right.
because they were so high, not because they were bad, but they were just so high at the time. Yeah, so that's why.
It's fucking crazy. See, for a long time, I thought they started a lot of tours in Philly. For years, I would look at the schedules and I would see tours starting in Philly, and I thought it was because Philly's such a rough place to play. You want to get it out of the fucking way. That's what I always thought. I didn't know why, because I seen the Stones in Philly, and it was the first night of their tour, and I seen AC/DC at the Palladium, and it was the second night of their tour, and they started in Philly. So I'm like, oh, I never even thought fucking bands played in Miami and shit.
How hard is it to tour? Because I've been lucky enough to go with Joey for a couple weekends, and I'm not even performing. But leaving on Thursday morning, coming back Sunday morning, I know I'm exhausted. Like, I can't imagine doing a month on a bus going to radio. Do you do radio, or are you just sleeping all day and then doing the show? Like, what's it like?
It all depends the quality of people that you're touring with as human beings. If you can really have fun and really respect, and vice versa, they respect you, you could have the worst. You could be playing the worst shitholes. But if you really love the people and really love the music, it doesn't really matter what the conditions are. I've been in some great traveling conditions with some tours and people that I would just wish and couldn't wait for it to be over, just because. To me, the most important thing is the quality of the people that you're touring with, really not the accommodations.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. What was the most fun you had on a tour? No drugs, just fucking guys getting together and jamming and
it's nothing has come close to the significance of the Blizzard of Oz Diary of a Madman tour with Randy and
The
Ozzy.
second album.
Well, actually both.
Both.
And Tommy. Yeah, every night on stage was the Super Bowl. Every single night. The quality, and of course, we had the tragedy happen to us. I would say second would definitely be either Whitesnake or Dio, because I really loved touring with Ronnie. Ronnie was, my God, incredible.
Was he really from New Jersey?
No, Cortland, New York, upstate New York.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
But he lived in New Jersey or something. Somebody said they saw him once in New Jersey. I'm like, come on. I'm like,
I wouldn't doubt it, because after Rainbow, he came back to the U.S. and lived in the Northeast, and then he moved back to L.A. when he then started Black Sabbath. All of a sudden, after that.
It's funny because you talk about the Super Bowl or whatever.